this world, there's one man who refuses to follow the script.
We have rules here, you know that. And if you don't follow the rules, then what are we?
One man stands tall in the face of adversity.
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
A man who rises above the ashes of hot takes.
What do you care what they say?
Easy for you to say they all love you.
It's just noise, man. You're really good at it. You might be great.
That man is Nick Kostos. And this is You Better You Bet.
If loving sports is wrong, I don't want to be right.
Where narratives are challenged and the truth is spoken.
I told you what was going to happen last week. If you didn't listen, that's on you.
This isn't talk, it's perspective.
It's not what you look at that matters. It's what you see.
This is You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
What's up, everybody? Happy and merry, tremendous Sports Thursday to you and yours. This is You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports, as we bring you the fastest show in all of sports. The show presented today and always by BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. And on this Thursday morning, the world of sports is buzzing, and we are going to get to all the big stories, including more on yesterday's Trent McDuffie trade from the Kansas City Chiefs to the LA Rams, what it signals for Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, and the 2026 Rams, and the uncomfortable truth about Patrick Mahomes and the 2026 Kansas City Chiefs. The New England Patriots set to release Stephon Diggs next week, and that means they must either trade for A.J. Brown or sign Alec Pierce away from the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to explain why. And are we sure Aaron Rodgers is coming back to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers this season? Interesting comments yesterday from Aaron Rodgers. Our bets for tonight will close the show as per usual. But we officially begin the tremendous Sports Thursday edition of You Better You Bet with the biggest game in sports last night, as the Oklahoma City Thunder stroll into Madison Square Garden and beat my Knicks 103-100. And speaking of the bets, I mean, look, I'm a Knicks fan, so I feel like I don't know if I should get credit for like nailing a prediction like this, but I mean, I did nail it, right? It is funny, I will say. It's not funny, it's just, this is human nature, right? When I give you losers on the show, I hear way more about those than the winners that we give out here on You Better You Bet. I understand. It's human nature. I did get some nice notes from people. Man, like, you nailed that Knicks game last night, exactly how it was going to go. Look, that's not me being an expert handicapper. I don't claim to be one. That is me as a Knicks fan. Years of watching this team lose in absolutely soul-crushing fashion. That, it was going to go one of two ways. The Thunder were either winning on a buzzer beater, or the Knicks were going to lose by 1, 2, or 3 points and miss a shot to either tie or win at the end. And I was actually wrong. Because the Knicks didn't miss one shot to tie at the end. They actually missed 2 3-pointers that could have tied the game and sent it to overtime. My bad, everybody. But like I told you yesterday, good teams win, but great teams cover. Last night, the Oklahoma City Thunder were good, but our New York Knicks were great. Now, as for the game itself and the sports talk around the game, I watched the whole thing. I thought it was a really, really good basketball game. Like a really fun, a really high-level basketball game. Thunder are up 10 at the end of the first half, and I'm watching the game thinking, I don't think the Knicks really have any shot of winning this game. Only 40 points scored by halftime for the New York Knicks. And then they come out in the third quarter, guns absolutely blazing. Like this is NBA Jam. Boom, shakalaka, they're on fire. After 40 points scored in the first half, in 2 quarters of basketball, in the third quarter last night, against the outstanding defensive Oklahoma City Thunder, the Knicks dropped 40 on that ass in the third quarter. And Karl Anthony Towns makes a 3 right at the end of the third quarter, and the Knicks actually enter the fourth quarter with the lead against Oklahoma City. And the Knicks would lead at points in the fourth quarter before, as you might imagine, what a shock, can't believe this happened. The Oklahoma City Thunder would take control of the game and ultimately go on to win. Now here is a fact as it concerns last night's game. Like, that's the great line. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. In last night's game, Thunder 103, Knicks 100. The Oklahoma City Thunder were called for 22 fouls. 22. The New York Knicks were called for 24. 2 more fouls called on the Knicks. The Oklahoma City Thunder last night shot 25 free throws. The New York Knicks shot 22. 3 more free throws shot by the Oklahoma City Thunder. And after last night's game, in a game where I walked away from it thinking, as a big Knicks fan, and you know my opinion, I don't think they can beat the Thunder. I don't think they can win the NBA championship. But I think that game last night, if you're a Knicks fan, if you're a Knicks bettor, if you're someone that likes basketball and likes thinking about the NBA, and who among us doesn't? We're all big sports fans. I think that game gives you confidence that the Knicks can win the Eastern Conference. Like, I walked away from the game thinking, you know what? And I said it going into yesterday. Like, great. We're on this streak with 3 consecutive games allowing less than 100 points. But the thing with the Knicks is consistency. And we'll learn in the next little bit. And tomorrow night, the Knicks are in Denver against the Nuggets. And then Sunday in LA against the Lakers. We gon' learn. We gon' find out about the Knicks. And I thought we found something out in a good way last night about the Knicks, pushing the Oklahoma City Thunder to the limit. Pushed them to the limit. That happened last night. So you walk away, I think, feeling pretty good about the Knicks potentially getting to the NBA Finals. But no, that was not the prevailing takeaway from either Knicks fans or even the majority of members of the media. And the media, this is not meant to be a criticism. Everyone can have their opinion. Really, what I would like to do here, because I am a Knicks fan, and I promise we will not spend a ton of time on this because this is a national show, but I think everyone can appreciate this because we're all sports fans, right? Knicks fans last night, after this game, and into this morning, have absolutely embarrassed themselves. It is pathetic. The rationalizing and the coping, the whining, the bitching, the moaning, and the complaining done by New York Knicks fans following last night's game. Which, by the way, like, Jalen Williams didn't play in the game. Only like top 15 player in the league. It doesn't play. Thunder still win on the road. No big deal. Hartenstein and Caruso both get hurt, can't finish the game. Thunder still win. But no, it can't be crediting the Thunder. No, it can't be that. It can't be like the Knicks are really good, but maybe not as good as them. No, it has to be that the refs are in the bag. Because, of course, like, if you're the NBA, why would you want the team from New York to win when you could have the team from Oklahoma City win? Like, do you understand? Does everyone understand how asinine this is? Everyone says SGA gets all the calls. And SGA flops. By the way, Jalen Brunson flops all the time, and I'm a Knicks fan. Let's call it like we see it. Lou Dort flops, and he's a dirty player. It's true. It's absolutely true. And the Thunder get all the calls. The refs are in the bag for Oklahoma City. Remember, the facts I gave you. 22 fouls to 24. 25 free throws to 22. This was not like Lakers-Kings Game 6 of the 2001 Western Conference Final. Like, can we give it a rest here? Now, fans are one thing. Fans doing this routine is one thing. I'm a sports fan. And look, I'm objective this morning. Right? I can be objective. When we get to the playoffs, I'm a Knicks fan. I want them to win a title badly. I've never seen it. If like this happens in, if it's game 7 of the second round against the Celtics and like this happens, I'm probably not going to be able to be objective. And I'm being honest about that. So I get where fans are coming from. It's one thing for fans to react in this way. It is another thing entirely for the head coach of the New York Knicks to say the things that he said last night post-game, contradicting himself. So Kenny's got a couple cuts that we're going to play from you from New York Knicks head coach Mike Brown, one of which he's talking about how SGA gets all the calls, and the other saying, you know what, like, we can't worry about that. Kenny, take it away from Mike Brown last night post-game.
SGA he's a tough cover, and he does a great job of convincing the referees, probably better than anybody in the league, that he's getting hit. One of the things that I wanted to get across to the guys is we're good enough to win despite whatever the officials are calling out on the floor, and we need to have that mentality.
So which one is it, Mike? Which one is it? Is it SGA is fooling the referees? Or is it our team needs to stop worrying about whatever the other team is doing and the refs are doing and focus on winning the damn game? Which one is it? This is like me with my soon-to-be 2-year-old daughter being like, I listen, now, I don't curse on the air on this show. But if you've been listening to me or following my career when like we were not FCC regulated, I'm being honest here. I'm like the Mozart of F-bombs. When it comes to cursing, your boy is Beethoven. But I think like I curse all the time in my everyday life when I'm not on the air. But I have a 2-year-old. I don't want her to curse. So this is like me saying, I don't want my daughter to ever curse. And then I'm walking around swearing like a drunken sailor in front of her. Which one is it? Which one is it, Mike? Is it SGA is great at fooling the referees? Or is it that your team needs to stop worrying about what everyone else is doing and what the refs are doing and focus on winning the damn game? Like, it can't be that SGA is awesome. It can't be that Cason Wallace was a defensive menace. It can't be that Chet Holmgren was electric on both sides. No. It has to be excuses. And did I add, by the way, if the Thunder didn't have Jalen Williams in the game, can I say that again? So right now, we are going to, on this show, always try and do this, and we are successful the vast majority of the time, maybe not all the time. And I'll always be honest when that's the case too. We're going to remove emotion from the equation. No emotion in what I'm about to say. I get paid to talk sports, to tell the truth as best I can. And if I'm not going to tell the truth again, I'm going to tell you that I'm having difficulty telling the truth. The New York Knicks can never beat this team in a 7-game series. Because ask a Knicks fan right now, they're going to tell you, well, we can definitely beat. All we needed was to hit one of those threes and got to overtime, and who knows what happens. Like, grow up. Like, sorry, everybody. And I'm more sorry, candidly, for me than I am for you. Because I love this team. And I have to face reality that they ain't winning this year. Now, I guess, like, they could feasibly win, but it would require, like the Thunder would have to lose to the Spurs, or SGA would have to get hurt. Like, that's how it happens. Like, that's, like, a lot has to happen. If everyone stays healthy, the Thunder are going to win the West because they're the best team. And if the Knicks win the East, the Thunder will annihilate them in the NBA Finals. Like, sorry, everybody. You think it gives me pleasure to say that? Like, I want to say that? I don't want to say that. I want to come on here and tell you that the Knicks are going to win the championship and feel really good about it. And they can absolutely get there. The Knicks can absolutely get to the NBA Finals. But there is just no way they can beat the Thunder. There's no way. And it's not because of the refs, and it's not because of free throws, and it's not because Mercury's in retrograde, or Timothée Chalamet doesn't win Best Actor for Marty Supreme. It's none of these reasons. It's because they're better, period. And as for the Oklahoma City Thunder, we, collectively, sports fans, we are very, very, very close to being in a very, very, very fun place with this team. You, our audience, like the only way you are checking into this show every day is if you're a big sports fan, because this is a show from big sports fans for big sports fans. So I always assume you love sports. Here's my question for you. Do you like the Thunder? If we're going to do this like politically, like a political poll, is your opinion of the Thunder favorable or unfavorable? Is your opinion of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander favorable or unfavorable? Do you enjoy watching the Oklahoma City Thunder play basketball? My overwhelming sense as it regards those questions, I don't think people hate, with like a capital H, hate the Thunder yet. I definitely think people don't like them. I think that people didn't really like them last year before they had won it, but it's different right before you win. Because you don't know if they were going to win or not. Then they won, right? So it's different now because they've won a championship already. And I believe the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to go back-to-back. They're the favorite to do so. So it's Thursday, March 5th. We are ready. Let's do the math. April, May, June. We are 3+ months away from living in a world where the Oklahoma City Thunder have gone back-to-back and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has won his second consecutive MVP in the regular season and finals MVP. And all anyone does is bitch about him getting the calls, and no one likes them. We are on the cusp of the Oklahoma City Thunder becoming the Kansas City Chiefs, the New England Patriots, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Kevin Durant Golden State Warriors, the Shaq and Kobe Lakers, the Derek Jeter Yankees, Coach K and Duke. We're almost there. And consider this, right? And think about it. When was the last team in the NBA that universally everybody loved to hate? Loved to hate. The true villains. You can say it's the KD Warriors. Maybe that's the answer. But like Steph's on that team and everybody loves Steph. I think the answer is the Miami Heat. Like the Heatles with LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Think about how long ago that was. Hell, the Kevin Durant Warriors last won a championship almost a decade ago. How long it's been since we've had that team in the NBA that fans love to hate and root against. That is spectacular. And that is likely to win each and every year. And the difference between last year's Oklahoma City Thunder and this year's Oklahoma City Thunder is that this year they are leaning into it. And if you don't see it, you're not paying attention. Whether it's Lou Dort sticking his ass out like some hot chick at a club in Manhattan to try and trip Nikola Jokic, or SGA, and if you haven't seen this, please go on social media. It's everywhere on TV and it's all over social media. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander wore this. I wouldn't wear it, but I don't hate on him for wearing it. It's this ridiculous fur coat that comes up like a cape around his neck. He looks like Cruella DeVille. I don't know if Shai would have worn that last year, but you know what he is now? NBA MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Finals MVP, NBA champion, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Remember last year when the Thunder would win games and the whole team would do the interview on the court after the game? Last night, it was Shea. And behind him was Jalen Williams in street clothes. And Shea saying, yeah, we didn't even have Jalen. He didn't say it like that, but yeah, it's great to win this game and we didn't have Jalen. And Jalen Williams, J-Dub, is behind SGA, like looking and making hand motions and gesticulating at the camera. They know they're the best. It's one thing thinking you're going to win. It's another knowing you're going to win. And now the Thunder know that they're going to win. Now, does this guarantee that they're going to win the championship? Of course not. Crazy things happen all the time. I can be wrong. Absolutely. But I'll tell you, man, I'd be pretty stunned. We are 3+ months away from Shea, J-Dub, and the Oklahoma City Thunder ascending the throne in sports of hate. So from this Knicks fan to all of you, let me channel one of the great haters in the history of life, of literature, of art, movies, film, etc. Emperor Palpatine. Let the hate flow through you. And if it isn't yet, 3+ months, you will join the dark side. 310-840-4910, 310-840-4910, youtube.com/@the Kostos. We are just getting started here on this tremendous Sports Thursday. On the other side, more breakdown of the Trent McDuffie trade from the Kansas City Chiefs to the LA Rams and what it says for both teams with the league year set to open next week on a Thursday on Westwood One Sports.
2nd and 7. This is a pick going the other way, and it's McDuffie.
F them picks, we'll use them to go win more Super Bowls.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
Oh, man, that is awesome. Joe Buck with the call, Trent McDuffie interception, and Rams general manager Les Snead. F them picks is absolutely spectacular. Oh, man. Just, when the Knicks beat the Celtics in the first 2 games last year of the Eastern Conference before Jason Tatum got hurt, Mikal Bridges made great defensive plays at the end of each of those Knicks comeback wins in Boston, and I remember a meme that circulated, and I even tweeted it out. That was a picture of Mikal Bridges with the line "F them picks," and look, that philosophy by the LA Rams helped them win a Super Bowl a couple years ago. And they're hoping that it helps them win the Super Bowl coming up next February. So yesterday, at 11:49 a.m. Eastern Time, and that was exactly the time that the trade broke, and I remember because I had a couple things planned to do in the final segment of the show, and all of a sudden we couldn't do it because I have to do 3 minutes on this trade before we give the bets for tonight. So 11:49 a.m. Eastern Time yesterday, enough time for me to give you a sliver of a thought on this huge trade with the Rams and the Chiefs. Now, in-depth thoughts coming up on both teams and what it means for both teams heading into the 2026 season. And this segment on You Better You Bet, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Save on commercial auto insurance from Progressive. Get a fast quote at progressivecommercial.com, progressivecommercial.com. So we have the full breakdown, the full parameters of this deal. The Kansas City Chiefs trading stud corner Trent McDuffie to the Rams for the 29th overall pick in April's draft, 5th and 6th round picks as well, and a 3rd round pick in 2027. The Rams are also expected to sign Trent McDuffie to an extension that will make him likely, if not the highest paid corner in football, then certainly one of the highest paid corners in football. And this is a haul for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Rams gave up, and it doesn't mean that the trade can't be awesome. I'll explain in a moment. But the Rams gave up a bleep ton in this trade for Trent McDuffie. I'll give my thoughts on the Chiefs coming up, and for what it's worth, I do think the Chiefs are the more interesting team, the more interesting side of this trade. More layers on the Kansas City perspective. I think the Rams are a little more cut and dry. But what I'm about to say is true. Regardless of how it turns out, the Chiefs got a lot, and the Rams gave up a lot and still have to pay Trent McDuffie. But the Rams don't care. They don't care. They don't care. They love it. F them picks. F them. Let's talk about the Rams' first-round picks since 2017. 17, traded to the Titans. 18, traded to the Patriots. 19, traded to the Falcons. 20, traded to Jacksonville. 21, traded to Jacksonville. 22, traded to Detroit. 23, traded to Detroit. 24, took Jared Verse. He's pretty good. 25, traded to Atlanta. 26, traded to the Chiefs. And they obviously have the Falcons' first-round pick, 13th overall this year. The Rams do. It's all about winning the Super Bowl for the Rams, and they have clearly determined, and we knew this years ago, so this is not like a earth-shattering take here, that they believe that they would rather have proof of concept, even if it means you have to pay the guy now, than draft and develop and hope that someone turns out to be great. And look, teams have different ways of building, right? And trying to build a Super Bowl champion. We know that this method has been successful because the Rams won the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl in the 2021 season. And they won it at their home stadium. So, it becomes a delicious bit of symmetry that 11 months from now, on Valentine's Day. So everyone get used to that right now. I'm trying to decide when I'm going to break it to my wife that next year's Super Bowl is on Valentine's Day. The Super Bowl next year is in Los Angeles. And this trade shows you, if you didn't know it already, and you probably should, but if you didn't, it is all about 2026 for the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to present you better you bet on this Thursday, Nick Kostos, Westwood One Sports, presented by BetMGM. I'm going to present you with two scenarios. If the Rams win the Super Bowl next year, do Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay ride off into the sunset? What do you think the answer to that question is? I think it's 100% yes for Stafford. 100%. Is it 51% for Sean McVay? That he walks away and maybe he becomes John Madden, right? Who burned out after winning the Super Bowl 11 for the then Oakland Raiders, never returned to coaching. And he goes into TV and makes $11 billion and becomes one of the great TV analysts ever. Maybe takes a couple years off and comes back. Maybe he never leaves and he just stays with the Rams. But we have to acknowledge that it's possible, right? If the Rams win, do McVay and Stafford ride off into the sunset? Let me ask you a different question. If the Rams don't win the Super Bowl, are Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay both piecing out? Are they both bouncing? If you're Les Snead, the GM of the Rams, and you're Sean McVay, who and he holds the cards to his own future, and you know that this is not definitely, but let's think about it, right? Is this likely to be Matthew Stafford's final year? Not 100%, but is it more than 50% that this will be Matthew Stafford's final season? I think the answer to that question is absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Could it be Sean McVay's final season? I think the answer to that question is also absolutely yes. Not definitely, but it could be. And if that's true, then there's all the urgency in the world to win right now. Last year, and when I say last year, I mean last season. We're talking like a month and a half ago. The Rams lost to Seattle in the NFC Championship game. And I think we all know, we knew it then, but we certainly know it now with the way Super Bowl 60 turned out. As far as the best teams in the NFL go last season, Seattle 1A and the Rams 1B. And it could have easily, if not for a couple plays in a couple games, and this is not me hating on the Seahawks, it could have been Rams 1A, Seattle 1B. And the Rams know that. And the Rams know that this could be it for this iteration of the team. And they got to contend not just with Seattle, but here's Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers, where if they can ever stay healthy, look out for San Francisco. So it's all about this year for the LA Rams. F them picks. Pay Trent McDuffie. Who cares? Pay the piper down the road. This could be the final year of Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. So you do what you can, everything you can to try and win. And you still have the 13th overall pick in the draft by virtue of that ridiculous trade that we called ridiculous the next day in the first round last year from the Atlanta Falcons. And as far as the fit goes with Trent McDuffie and the Rams defense, what did we say on this show leading into the postseason, every single playoff game, and certainly the NFC Championship game in Seattle, where Sam Darnold played the best game of he may never play a better game in his career than the NFC Championship game. That secondary was terrible. More holes than a piece of Swiss cheese. Couldn't stop anybody. Like got sliced and diced and carved like a Thanksgiving turkey by Bryce Young in the wild card round. Brutal, brutal secondary. This makes all the sense in the world. Here's Trent McDuffie. And McDuffie has versatility. You can argue that McDuffie's a better inside corner, slot cornerback, than he is an outside corner. Well, you also have Quentin Lake. and you can swap them back and forth. Now you have versatility. You have another good player to go along with this ridiculous pass rush that the Rams have. And we'll see what they do at 13 overall. It makes all the sense in the world for the Los Angeles Rams to make this deal. And maybe 3 years from now, Trent McDuffie isn't as good, or he gets hurt, and I'm not wish-casting that. I'm just saying, like, we're playing out some scenarios here, right? And things go to hell for the Los Angeles Rams, and at some point, like, the Bills got to be paid for all the trades that you make, and it leads to a down period, and the Rams have to tear it all down and build it back up. It's certainly possible that happens. If you can hang another banner, who cares? The LA Rams are not worried about 27, 28, 29, 30. The Los Angeles Rams are worried about 2026. The last time the Super Bowl played at SoFi, the Rams won it. And there was talk then that Stafford and McVay would ride into the sunset. Don't be shocked if 11 months from now, we are having the same conversation again. 310-840-4910, youtube.com/@thekostos. I am on all social platforms at the Kostos, TheKostos. Coming up next, what the Trent McDuffie trade means for the Kansas City Chiefs and the uncomfortable truth around Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and company to wrap up hour number 1, Westwood One Sports, on a Thursday.
Let's head out to Media Row and now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos and the crew. Presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Listen, I ran... Kenny played the Media Row thing. Kenny, you just got to take that off the board. Trust me, as someone that used to run the board in another lifetime, I get it. Things happen. Kenny, I would say, running the board's not an easy job. I talk about this sometimes in radio, right? I would say, like, an engineer in sports radio is kind of like an offensive lineman, where you only hear about them. Well, Kenny comes on the show, so he's like, you hear about Kenny, he bets, etc. We love Kenny. But generally, you only hear an offensive lineman's name when, like, he has, like, everyone knows, like, more people, I think NFL fans may know who Jawan Taylor is than, like, Penei Sewell. Because Jawan Taylor gets penalized so often, and its name is said so many times. Kenny pitches perfect games for the most part. It happens. I mean, if I were to go through all the mistakes that I've made running the board in my career, I mean, we'd be here for a long time. Our show sponsor is BetMGM. There's no better place to be during March matchups than Vegas. And this year, college basketball fans can win a VIP trip to the Court of Legends event featuring the Cavender twins. Simply play sports bets, plural. Maybe you like Iowa tonight. Maybe I do. And your position on the leaderboard will determine if you win one of the 25 grand prize packages. Just sign into your BetMGM account, opt into the promo, then start placing sports bets of at least $10 to climb the leaderboard. Make this March one to remember. Join the Court of Legends leaderboard so you can make it legendary. Our BetMGM network teammate, well, we're not the BetMGM network anymore. Old habits die hard. Our Westwood One Sports teammate of BetMGM tonight. See, now it's trickling down. Now Mike has to make an error, Bill has to make an error, Dan Turner has to make an error. My bad. Our Westwood One Sports teammate, Pat Boyle of BetMGM tonight, will join us to start next hour here on the show. We look forward to that. But for now, we will attempt to get the show back on the rails. Gave you the Rams side of the Trent McDuffie trade yesterday. And it's pretty cut and dry. Like, it's all about winning the Super Bowl this season. For the Kansas City Chiefs, I think it's a little more complicated than that. And we are entering uncharted territory and sailing into rocky waters, choppy waters that we have not yet seen and sailed into as sports fans, as Chiefs fans, as sports bettors, with Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Kansas City Chiefs. I acknowledged, right, that the Chiefs got an absolute haul in this deal for Trent McDuffie. Like, you can't say otherwise. Now, maybe they blow all the picks and all the players stink. I have no idea. But they got a haul. It is a really good return for Trent McDuffie. I think that this is symptomatic of a bigger issue right now with the Kansas City Chiefs. The issue is, I don't think they have that many good players on the roster. And they've given out some bad contracts, most notably to George Karlaftis, which is he's a good player, not a great player, and he's being paid like he's a great player. And they had to get under the salary cap, so you cut Jawan Taylor, which is really easy, and then you trade Trent McDuffie, who's an ascending young corner. And the thought process there is, Steve Spagnuolo is a miracle worker. And they traded L'Jarius Sneed, right? That happened with the Tennessee Titans. And Steve Spagnuolo's been able, who's like a Hall of Fame level defensive coordinator, obviously, was a defensive coordinator, for people that don't know, of my Giants when they beat the Patriots in Super Bowl 42. And Spags has this ability to take, corners and safeties that you've never heard of, and all of a sudden they're absolute monsters in this scheme. And I am sure that Andy Reid, and I am sure that General Manager Brett Veach, that their thought is Spags will figure it out on defense. We'll get this haul for Trent McDuffie. We don't have to pay Trent McDuffie. We can spend the money elsewhere. And the Chiefs are now $23 million under the cap by virtue of this trade of Trent McDuffie and the impending release of offensive tackle Jawan Taylor. So the Chiefs still have moves to make, and 2 first-round picks coming up now in the NFL draft. One inside the top 10 and one at the end of the first round. So, Kansas City, over the next 2+ months, is going to add a lot to its roster. Money in free agency, multiple first-round picks. Maybe here's Jeremiah Love. in the first round. Maybe you can have that luxury of taking a running back in the top 10 because you have a pick now at the end of the first round as well. So the Chiefs are going to do, I think, a good amount here. They are not going to sit on their hands. They know that last year, 6-11 with Patrick Mahomes tears his ACL towards the end of the year. He's aiming to be back in week 1. They know that it was unacceptable. They know that. And they're going to do everything they can to get back into gear and get this roster recharged and roster reloaded for a run in 2026. But here's the uncomfortable truth. And here is where we're in uncharted territory. And here is where, at this point in the calendar, this is the choppiest waters we've ever seen with the Kansas City Chiefs. On Monday morning, to start the show, first show in the month of March, I asked the question to the audience, and I put it out there on social media. The question was, Duke, Arizona, Michigan, Florida, or the field? I will ask a similar question right now. So I'm going to ask the question, and I am going to what's called in this profession lay out. And I will have a few seconds of silence. And I want you to think about what your answer is to this question. Not knowing what the Chiefs are going to do, maybe they do a lot of great things, but also not knowing what other teams may do as well. If I gave you the choice right now, and you can, AFC West, AFC whatever, if I gave you the Chargers and the Broncos or the Kansas City Chiefs, who are you taking? Chargers and Broncos grouped together or the Kansas City Chiefs? Who are you taking? I can't believe I'm saying this. And I acknowledge things can change. We'll see. But right now, the answer to that question is, if you're being honest, even if you're a big Chiefs fan, and I've been invested in the Chiefs many times, you know that if you've listened to or watched this show. I'm not a hater. I call it like it is. I keep it real. I'm honest. I can be wrong, but I tell you exactly what I think. I think it's clearly the Chargers and the Broncos. And I'll take it a step further. I think it's the Chargers. Now, the Broncos actually have proof of concept. The Broncos actually, we're the 1 seed. The Broncos actually won a playoff game. The Broncos hosted Championship Sunday. And I think if Bo Nix played in that game, they would have been the ones to lose the Super Bowl to the Seahawks, not the New England Patriots. So Denver has the proof of concept. But the Chargers, man, now there's a little bit of hypotheticals here. And the hypothetical is, can Justin Herbert play well in the playoffs? But man, you cannot discount and overstate how big of an upgrade it is for the Chargers going from Greg Roman running that offense to Mike McDaniel. This is the equivalent of going from driving a Pinto to a Ferrari. Can Joe Alt stay healthy? Can Rashawn Slater stay healthy? If the answer to that question is yes, the Chargers will figure out the interior of their offensive line. They got a ton of money to spend again. They go and figure it out. They are going to be nasty year 3 of Jim Harbaugh. And here's still the Denver Broncos, who actually, won the division last year. Look at the rosters. Yes, the Chiefs have the best player. The Chiefs, maybe it will go down as the best or second best or third best quarterback ever in Patrick Mahomes. But you saw last year, and this was my mistake last year, someone who loved the Chiefs until it was time to stop loving them, and it was too late. Team sport. And the rest of the team ain't good enough. Look at the rosters. Tell me which ones are better. It's LA, the Chargers, and it's the Denver Broncos. I don't even know if it's that close. And I'm not insinuating Kansas City's going 6-11 again. I absolutely do not think that's going to happen. But right now, we are going to enter the start of the NFL league year where a strong case can be made. A strong case that the Kansas City Chiefs, with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, are the third best team in their own division. What a time to be alive. 310-840-4910, youtube.com/@the Kostos. Hour 1 done, hour 2 for you. Coming up on the other side, we will start the hour with our Westwood One sports teammate. Got it right that time. Pat Boyle from BetMGM tonight.
biggest names in the business are on You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos.
Hey, this is Joe Buck, and you have done it. You have found it. You are listening to You Better You Bet. Great decision.
Hi, this is Kevin Harlan of CBS, Westwood One, and TNT, and I'm listening, as you do every day, to You Better You Bet with the most handsome single man in the radio business. A man who, if I was not married for 38 years, I might consider myself the kind of guy that can electrify a listening audience and a crowd of bystanders watching him do what he does so well each and every day. Continue to listen right here on You Better You Bet.
This is You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports, brought to you by BetMGM.
The tremendous Sports Thursday edition of You Better You Bet rolls on. Nick Kostos, our amazing crew, and you on Westwood One Sports. Man, I love the first hour of the show today. Opened with the Thunder 103-100 win last night at Madison Square Garden over my Knicks. Why I think Knicks fans are pathetic right now. The rationalizing and the coping following this game last night, well, actually, the Knicks are just as good as the Thunder, and, well, the referees robbed the Knicks, and all SGA does is flop. Grow up. The Knicks aren't as good as the Thunder. That's it. And I'm a Knicks fan saying that. It gives me no pleasure to say that. But it's the truth. And I also told you why. I feel like we are a little more than 3 months away from the Oklahoma City Thunder becoming the most hated NBA team since the LeBron James-led Miami Heat. And gave you long-form thoughts on the trade yesterday with the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Rams, Trent McDuffie going from Kansas City to LA, why this shows you the Rams are all in on 2026, F them picks, not just F them picks, F 2027 and 2028. Let's try and win in 2026. And why I think the Kansas City Chiefs right now are the third best team in their own division. What a world where that's something you can say and have it be true when the Kansas City Chiefs still employ the great Patrick Mahomes. Mike Silver from The Athletic will join us later this hour. He has a very interesting column up right now about Max Crosby, Tom Brady, Alex Guerrero, remember him, and the Las Vegas Raiders. I'll give you my opinion on that situation coming up in a little bit. But joining us right now to kick off hour number 2 on this Thursday, our Westwood One Sports teammate, co-host of BetMGM Tonight, the great Pat Boyle. And you can hear him with Brad Evans weeknights, 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time on social media at Pat Boyle 44. And how do you know it's the month of March? Because I'm looking at Pat right now, and he's even pastier white than I am because the sun hasn't been out in New York for about 6 months. Pat, welcome back to the show, my friend. How are you on this Thursday morning?
Good morning, Nick. Oh, I thought you were going to say you could tell it's March because I'm decked out in green. I got the Patty's Pub shirt on. I'm ready for St. Patty's Day. I'm ready for March Madness. We are on the precipice of probably the greatest single sporting portion of the calendar of the entire season. But yes, also, we don't live too far away from one another here right outside the New York City area. You're technically in New York City. And yes, I haven't seen the sun in about 72 hours. I feel like Annie, just the sun will come out tomorrow. It hasn't come out. I'm waiting for it to come out. It says 60 and 70 degrees coming up here in a couple of days. I'm dying for some vitamin D.
And this is what's hilarious about this. So Pat's right. And I don't know if people nationwide, just like, I'm sure the weather sucks everywhere, right? For the most part. Like on Monday in New York, it's supposed to be literally in the high 60s, in the low 70s. And I think a lot of people are excited about that. This is how I know I'm starting to get really washed up and I'm a dad now. Because my first thought is, wow, everybody's going to get sick with the harsh weather change. And it's just is this really what my life has come to, that these are the sorts of things that I'm thinking about now? I wasn't going to ask you this, but since you said something there that kind of triggered something in me, and it's a fair opinion. I disagree, but you can have your opinion, and I can disagree with it, but it's your opinion. Do you think that March is the best month on the sports calendar? I pretty strongly disagree with that. Is March Pat Boyle's favorite month on the calendar? And I'm guessing you mean March into early April with the Masters.
Yes. I would say mid-March to mid-April, if I can do that. If that's too cherry picking, then fine. You can do that. Wear it, but mid-March to mid-April, March Madness, the Masters, baseball opening day, and the start of the NBA and Stanley Cup playoffs. Because let's be honest, both of those regular seasons are boring. And I have League Pass, I'm a diehard sicko NBA fan. I was watching the Nuggets and the Jazz the other night. But like the start of the playoffs, there is so much freaking excitement. It's time for all the boring storylines to go away and for legacies to be made. So the start of 2 playoffs, the start of the biggest tournament that everybody loves, the start of baseball, and the Masters. I think that beats, and trust me, the NFL is king. College football playoff is awesome. I think mid-March to mid-April trumps that, honestly.
How can you, like you just said, like you have League Pass. You watched Nuggets Jazz the other night. Listen, like the NBA regular season does not have the juice like the NFL has. Hockey, I'm not going to argue. We love hockey in the playoffs, not otherwise here. How can you say the NBA regular season is boring? The NBA gives us tons of stuff to talk about on a weekly basis.
Yeah, but I mean, also, man, okay, you back me into a corner. It's boring in the sense that there's 82 games and there probably should be 70, if not 65.
I agree with you on that. Like the season, but it's never going to be shorter. Like there's too much money to be made. But I do agree with that.
I get it. I mean, on a night-to-night basis, like, flip a coin as to whether a game is going to end in a 30-point blowout or not. And honestly, like, I get the idea of load management, right? Especially, the back-to-backs, and then we're at a breakneck pace. The game's faster than it's ever been. But, like, half the games, you can count on at least one star player being out. So it's like, oh, damn, I was so excited. Spurs-Pistons tonight. I wouldn't be surprised in 4 hours from now. Oh, wow, Wembanyama's going to be out. Cade Cunningham's going to be out. Castle's going to be out. Like, that's happened so many times.
Well, right now, because I kind of want to bet that game tonight. Spurs 3.5 at home. Only Harrison Barnes and Mason Plumlee are out. We don't even have anybody else on the injury report, so we'll see. Pat's right. Like, crazy things happen all the time with NBA injury reports. I'm hoping that we get a clean bill of health heading into that game for both teams. Would love to see that. We saw it last week, right, when the Spurs beat the Pistons in Detroit. Okay. You're a big Knicks fan. I'm a big Knicks fan. I started the show today killing Knicks fans for the reaction to last night's game, the bitching, moaning, whining, and complaining about SGA and the fouls when you look at the actual stats and there was not a big foul discrepancy in the game. Where do you stand on the Knicks following the loss last night to OKC?
Yeah, so I'm doing my show with Brad 6 to 11 p.m. Eastern every day. So I had the game on my phone on my second screen. I'm watching it during my show. Volume goes up and the commercial breaks. My producer Brandon Combs is trying to talk to me. I'm like, dude, I'm watching the game, but I understand we're trying to run a program here. So I'm as locked in as I could be. And so, look, I understand Knicks fans bitching and moaning about SGA. That's become the easy thing to do. The foul merchant stuff. I mean, Doris Burke. I thought that was. Last year, that was a little embarrassing, honestly, calling him consistently the free throw merchant in the playoffs. He does an amazing job of getting to the free throw line. We've seen it with James Harden before. We've seen it with many of the great star players. Like the bitching and moaning about SGA, are there certain plays where he, I saw a play last night, he kind of kicks his leg out as he goes up for a mid-range jump shot. There's no point in doing that. There's no point to do that. Making it your main argument as to why the Knicks are as good as the Thunder is wrong. It's flawed. The Knicks aren't as good. I heard you mention that here, just that you mentioned that last hour. The Thunder have played the majority of the season without their second best player, Jalen Williams, a guy that scored 40 in an NBA Finals game last year. Holmgren missed some time this year. SGA missed 9 games going in and out of the All-Star break, and they are still the best team in the NBA at 49-15. I mean, they are incredible. That's not a problem that the Knicks aren't on their level. We're in the same conversation as we were last year. We're like, damn, hopefully we can get to the finals. And then, I don't know, maybe we get some injury luck as Knicks fans. They're not as good as the Thunder. Did they play great last night? Yes. Should they have won the game? Yes. Can they freaking find a way to close out a game in the fourth quarter? They have to. And again, I had my one friend who's a Knicks hater. Oh, Jalen Brunson, he will never be the guy to lead the Knicks to a championship because he can't close out big playoff games. And I said, dude, are you forgetting he won NBA Clutch Player of the Year last year? Now, he wasn't great in the fourth quarter last night, but I feel as a Knicks fan right now, man, I don't know, we're in that cycle where I'm kind of on the upswing. I feel a lot better about the Knicks than I did a couple of weeks ago, and than I did as a month before that when they went on that big losing streak. So, right now, Karl-Anthony Towns, he's playing really good defense. I mean, he fouled out again last night, of course, but he's playing really good defense. He needs to shoot the ball more. I mean, he's the game's greatest big man three-point shooter. Doesn't take a single three last night. How is that just completely disappeared from his game? I'm not sure. We need to get that back. We need Karl-Anthony Towns to be amazing in the playoffs. And this is a tired conversation all year, but it is the truth. Him and Mikal Bridges, the two guys that honestly I would send to Siberia if we could have Giannis right now on this team. Those are the guys we need to step up. But right now the Knicks defense has been incredible over the last couple of weeks. And I think they can carry that into the postseason. Nick, at this point, where it's March 5th, it's a complete failure if the Knicks don't get to the conference finals. And I really don't want to accept anything less than getting to the NBA finals because they're good enough to do so.
You better you bet on this Thursday at Westwood One Sports. Nick Kostos here with you. Pat Boyle, our guest. BetMGM tonight here on Westwood One Sports, along with our pal Brad Evans on Twitter at PatBoyle44. So I want to lay a scenario out for you, and I want you to think about the villains right now in sports. So what we know about OKC, Pat, and the way people talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's project this out a little more than 3 months from now when the NBA season is over and a champion is crowned. If the Thunder go back-to-back and win another NBA championship, with the way people view them already right now, where would you place them on the mantle of hated teams across all the sports?
They will be number one. They will be number one for sure because, I guess they'd be on even footing with the Kansas City Chiefs because people hate the Chiefs and they missed the playoffs this year. So everybody finally got their comeuppance from like the last 7-8 years. And it wouldn't surprise me if the Chiefs get back to the AFC title game next year. I know you said they're the third best team in their division. I disagree. I still think they are very, very hated. 1 year of not making the playoffs, I don't think doesn't just erase all that. I think the Thunder are right behind the Chiefs in terms of hatred because they've only won one title. And I think they're going to go back-to-back this year. I do. And it crushes me as a Knicks fan to say it. They're the best team in the NBA. They're going to win the championship, in my opinion. And then and SGA, everybody that loves to just watch a couple of social media clips and call him the free throw merchant and he's a flopper and all this, unethical hooper. Like all those people are going to rise up and then they will take over the social media conversation and the national radio conversation and the TV airwaves, and they will become an enemy. And yeah, they will be right behind the Kansas City Chiefs probably in the last 10 years of the most hated franchises. And that's after only winning 2 titles. And let's not forget, their core is basically all 26 and under, so they're not going anywhere.
And also when they get like, here's Jared McCain for a ham sandwich, the rest of the NBA not helping in this regard.
Great move,
Oklahoma City
did. What a bozo.
That's not a good job out of Daryl Morey. I want to get your thoughts on the Chiefs in a second here, but one more NBA note for this interview. The Charlotte Hornets last night absolutely destroyed the Celtics in Boston. And I said at the end of the show yesterday, I think this is an extreme outcome. I ended up betting Hornets money line, which is not to pat myself on the back. I always tell everybody, I tell you when I lose my bets all the time. Ended up placing a small bet on the Hornets to win the game. I felt like it's either Celtics by 20 or Hornets outright. I don't know if I saw Hornets by 1 million on my bingo card, but that's in fact what happened. And the Hornets are one of the, pun intended, buzziest teams right now in the NBA. Look like a lock for the play-in, maybe more. Pat, I feel like you've been on this bandwagon longer than most. What do you think the ceiling is here for LaMelo Ball, Con Knippel, Brandon Miller, and the Charlotte Hornets?
The ceiling this year is getting a top 6 seed, which I think they're going to do because the Philadelphia 76ers can't keep their squad together. Good luck counting on the skeleton of Joel Embiid to stay healthy. The Sixers fans are like, he's playing more. Yeah, okay. Let's get to April when he actually feels a little bit of physicality and let's see he'll crumble like a sack of bricks. So I don't believe in the Philadelphia 76ers to even maintain that top 6 spot in the East. Who's going to grab that? The Charlotte Hornets. If they do, they're right into the playoffs, and I think they can win a first-round playoff series. And honestly, Nick, you look at where the Knicks are in the standings right now, the Knicks had to sweat against the Detroit Pistons last year. If not for Beasley fumbling the ball away in that game 6, we probably would have been going to a game 7. I think the Charlotte Hornets can make any of those teams, whether it's the Celtics that end up as the 3, whether it's the Knicks, whether it's the... Look, I'm just saying, they're going to make whoever they play in the first round sweat. And I think it's a series.
But they're not going to win. They're not going to win that series.
They can win it. Again,
no, they can't.
Every year. Yes, they can.
The Hornets can't beat in a first round series. They can't beat the Pistons. They can't beat the Knicks. They can't beat the Cavs. They can't beat the Celtics. That doesn't mean they're not awesome, but they ain't beating any of those teams in a 7-game series. They can win a game.
They can win 4 games. I think they're that damn good. Con Knippel is already the second greatest shooter on the planet, only behind Steph Curry. LaMelo Ball has done a lot less scoring, but a lot more facilitating. They play great defense across the board. Diabate, their center, he's awesome. Charles Lee deserves to be in the Coach of the Year conversation, if not the Coach of the Year. They were 16 and 28.
Con Knippel, second best shooter on the planet. Listen, Con Knippel's awesome.
Right now.
Second best shooter on the planet?
Right now, behind Curry.
Better shooter, Con Knippel or Kevin Durant?
From 3, Con Knippel.
But just no. There's no qualifiers here. Better shooter, Con Knippel or Kevin Durant?
Let me qualify. Con Knippel's the second greatest 3-point shooter on the planet right now.
Oh, well, it's great in the rain. Look, I love Charlotte. Maybe they could win a game or two off one of these teams. I don't see it happening for 4 games, but you have been on this bandwagon longer than most with the Hornets. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're my little stepbrother. I've adopted them. You know, you pat them on the head, a little noogie here and there. But then again, like if they get the 6 seed and the Knicks are the 3, then it's time to pants your little stepbrother, give him the wedgie, put him in the toilet for a swirly. But I love the Hornets. They are awesome. They're going to be like probably a top 4 team in the East for the next 3 years running here, assuming they make the right moves. But they are freaking incredible. And if for anybody that hasn't taken notice, you're like, oh wow, the Hornets are over 500. Like they're the best team in the NBA over the last month.
They've been tremendous, and LaMelo's been really good. To Pat's point, Con Knippel's been amazing. Brandon Miller's been awesome. The Hornets do have it cooking right now. You are right about that. I think they're probably a little too early in their run to win a playoff series, but they will obviously be a fun team down the stretch here, and I think they will get out of the play-in the Eastern Conference and be in a first-round series. Let's close with this. You referenced that you disagreed with my take on the Chiefs, right now at least, being the 3rd best team in the AFC West. Chargers, Broncos, whatever order you would want to put them in. Why do you believe that? Why are you more optimistic than me right now in the Kansas City Chiefs?
Because they have Patrick Mahomes first and foremost, and I know that he himself has not been great over the last 2 years, and now he's coming off a torn ACL. I still think he is the second best quarterback on the planet behind Josh Allen, and he can easily retake the mantle of greatest quarterback in the NFL this season. And I trust Brett Veach. Honestly, I trust their GM. His legacy's on the line now with this Trent McDuffie trade. We're going to see what they do with 2 first-round draft picks. I have a feeling they'll probably end up trading out of one of them, especially if my guy from Notre Dame, Jeremiah Love, ends up going in the top 6 now of this draft, which is entirely possible. If he's there at 9, the Chiefs are going to grab him. If not, I think they end up trading back.
I'd love that, by the way, for the Chiefs. And I'm normally not a running back, early guy, but given the fact that they have now another first-round pick, Pat, I wouldn't hate that if the Chiefs took Jeremiah Love to supercharge that run game.
Yeah, I don't, honestly, Nick, I don't know if he's going to be there at 9.
You might be right.
He might have vaulted himself into the top 6. I thought maybe, New Orleans might take him. New Orleans might not even get him. So anyway.
Could the Titans take him? Could the Cardinals take him? I think that's fascinating here. How high could Jeremiah Love actually go in the draft?
Well, look, the Titans are normally a very dumb team with an owner that has no idea what she's doing in Amy Adams Strunk. But then again, they do their GM is Mike Borgonzi, who came over from the Chiefs. It wouldn't shock me if he actually knows somewhat what to do. I wouldn't justify them taking a running back. I think it's almost on the same plane as the Raiders taking Ashton Genty last year, which I thought was a huge mistake. The Titans have so many more holes they need to fill, offensive line, receiver, but it wouldn't shock me if they end up taking the running back. But then again, for the Chiefs, I believe in that organization, man. And I know that Kelsey's completely washed up, and I think Andy Reid is a year away from retiring, if not 2 at the most. I just don't think the Chargers are that great. And I know that they have a ton of money in cap space, and I don't believe in Herbert. I still believe Mahomes is the best quarterback in that division. He's the second best quarterback on the planet right now. He could take it back over. And I think that they're going to make a lot of incredible moves here in the draft and in free agency to stockpile themselves. They cut Jawan Taylor. They've restructured contracts. I think the Chiefs are going to make a big move here. You don't just miss the playoffs if you're the Kansas City Chiefs and you have Mahomes as quarterback and say, oh, well, we might need to rebuild or retool. No, you put your foot back on the pedal and you get back after it. And I expect them to do that.
You needed a quarterback to win one game for you. I don't want to do like the Max the First Take, give me Iguodala, fate of humanity on the line. But you need a quarterback to win one game for you. Mahomes or Josh Allen?
It's Mahomes.
Well, you said Allen's better than him?
Well, because I can't just see you the last 2 years Mahomes playing at a subpar level. The numbers.
The Chiefs went to the Super Bowl. The Chiefs went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
I get it, Nick. I get it, but you can't. And I'm not somebody that likes to discount the regular season. And again, if it's in a playoff game, if it's in the Super Bowl, give me Mahomes. But again, I can't just discount for the last 2 years. Josh Allen's been a better overall quarterback.
Oh, man, I love Josh Allen. I'll always go back to when the Chiefs beat them in Buffalo a couple of years ago in the playoffs, and Rashee Rice got asked about it after the game about Josh Allen and Mahomes, and Rashee Rice just goes, yeah, Pat's better than Josh. I don't know what you want to say. I'm still going to ride with Mahomes. I just think I don't like the rest of that roster right now in Kansas City. Pat, final question for you. not sports. You're always great with the stuff from the media we've done together. Give us a life take, a hot life take, something in Pat Boyle's life that you either like or dislike right now for our audience.
Ooh, a hot life take. All right, you put me on the spot. It's a good one. I don't know. The thing that is like the bane of my existence right now is the parking spot that I pay for. Like, if you pay for a parking spot, and there's a lot of folks that live in a city like you and me, or live, I mean, I guess maybe technically suburbs, but either way, if you don't own a house,
I'm in my 40s.
Yeah,
I'm in the burbs at this point.
Yeah, if you own an apartment or a condo, or you live in a city and you have to park on the street, or you're considered paying for a parking spot, if I pay for a parking spot, I then should be able to park in that parking spot. I pay in a parking lot, and half the time it's in a building where there's cheer practices and other gymnastics practices, and I can't park in the own lot that I pay for, and so then I park across the street, and then I get threatened to get towed. Stop. If I pay for a freaking parking spot, I better be able to park in that spot. If not, you better not be giving me crap about it. I can't hide it anymore, Nick. It's been pissing me off, man. And so I guess maybe that's not a hot life take, but that's the thing that I keep waking up every morning thinking of.
This is like a Seinfeld bit. I love it. Pat Boyle, weeknights, BetMGM tonight with our friend Brad Evans, 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. On Twitter at PatBoyle44. My friend, you're the best. We'll catch up soon.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it, brother.
On the other side, Dick, you can't even believe what's going on in Las Vegas with the Raiders and their wellness coordinator and what it means for Max Crosby. Coming up next here on a Thursday on Westwood One Sports.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos and the crew, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
This segment sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting your business vehicles 24/7. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com. Progressivecommercial.com. About 10 minutes from now, we're going to be joined here on You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports by Mike Silver from The Athletic. And Mike Silver had an article drop yesterday on The Athletic about what's happening behind the scenes in Las Vegas with the Raiders as it regards to Max Crosby's future. And I'm going to discuss this with Mike next segment. But I wanted to give you this appetizer, right? So you know what the context is, that I don't have to explain the whole thing when Mike Silver joins us on the show. One of the things of several that Mike Silver, who is as plugged in as it gets, one of the things that he talks about Max Crosby being unhappy with as it regards the Las Vegas Raiders is the presence of Alex Guerrero. Remember Alex Guerrero? On my Guerrero power rankings, I would have him squarely behind the late, great Eddie, Chavo, Vlad, and possibly even Juventud. Hoovy Juice. Even though that is Guerrera and not Guerrero. So Alex Guerrero is Tom Brady's wellness coordinator. And he was with Brady in New England, if people remember this, right? Which was a major point of contention for Bill Belichick, and it even got talked about at the Tom Brady roast, and people were pissed about the fact that this guy, Tom Brady's like wellness guru, had so much responsibility and was so ensconced in the Patriots organization. It was a big point of contention. Well, now, apparently, Alex Guerrero is the wellness coordinator of the Las Vegas Raiders. And per Mike Silver, attends practices of the Las Vegas Raiders, is present in meetings for the Las Vegas Raiders, and is literally like telling players about impending transactions for the, and is apparently like throwing his weight around with the Las Vegas Raiders. And I think for me, this brings up a really interesting question as it regards Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. Like, this is not even a question. Tom Brady's the best quarterback ever. He's the best football player of all time. If there is a draft, any football player in history, Tom Brady is the first overall pick 100 times out of 100. So when Tom Brady's a quarterback of your team, you can deal with Alex Guerrero being with him. Like, Alex Guerrero can be making avocado milkshakes for everybody, and everybody's got to drink them with the smile on their face, like Oliver Twist asking for another bowl of gruel. Sir, may I please have another? You can get away with that when you're the star quarterback, the greatest quarterback of all time, and you are, like, not single-handedly, but, man, close to it, winning championships. I don't know if you can get away with this when you're the owner of the team, the minority owner of the team, and you're pushing this dude on everybody. Now, I'm not there. I've never met Alex Guerrero. What I can say, and I'll ask Mike Silver this question, I have heard that, like, I'll say I'm not surprised to hear any of this based on what I've heard about Alex Guerrero. And Tom Brady, the owner, at this point in time at least, is a far cry from Tom Brady, the quarterback. Because since Mark Davis essentially ceded control to Tom Brady, he hired John Spytek. Book is still out on John Spytek. Hired Pete Carroll, disaster. Gave Chip Kelly a blank check, and then they fired him before the season ended. $18 million for Chip Kelly to be an atrocious offensive coordinator. Drafted Ashton Genty in the first round in the top 10, and it's not an anti-Ashton Genty thing. The team stinks, and you drafted a running back. He hasn't exactly covered himself in glory. Now, this doesn't mean Clint Kubiak can't be awesome, and they're going to take Fernando Mendoza, and Mendoza can't be great, and they can't turn this around. Pride and poise, commitment to excellence, just win, baby. It can happen. Just that, to this point in the Tom Brady era and tenure as minority owner and like de facto decision maker for the Las Vegas Raiders, I don't think you can get away with this. Here's wellness coordinator Alex Guerrero alienating the best player on the team. Tom Brady's your quarterback? Yeah, you deal with Alex Guerrero. Tom Brady's your quarterback, you deal with anything because you've got Tom Brady on the field. Tom Brady in the owner's box, that's another thing altogether. We'll talk about that and more coming up with Mike Silver from The Athletic on the other side. You Better You Bet on this Thursday. 310-840-4910. 310-840-4910. YouTube.com/@thekostos. We are presented by BetMGM.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
Joining us right now. Now he's on the phone, so he can't see that I have his book. We talked about this on Radio Row at the Super Bowl. His book is above me in my backdrop here, in my background on video. I've read a lot of football books in my life, and I'm not just saying this because he's on the show. I said it to him off air. I've said it on the air without him here. The Why is Everything. About like the offensive football revolution led by Mike Shanahan and then Kyle and Sean McVay and Mike McDaniel and the LaFleurs, etc. The book is sensational. The Why is Everything, written by our guest at this time, who dropped an awesome column yesterday at The Athletic, which I talked about in the segment preceding this one, about whatever the hell's going on in Las Vegas with the Raiders and Alex Guerrero. The great Mike Silver joins us now on the show, on Twitter at Mike Silver. Mike, it's your old pal Nick Kostos. How's it going, my friend?
Nick, how are you, man? Everything's good.
I need to start, Mike, by asking you this question. What the hell's going on in Las Vegas with the Raiders?
How much time do you have? Well, I'll try to distill it into a few things. They have made the playoffs twice since 2002 and have won 0 playoff games. So obviously there is something systemic wrong. Mark Davis kind of turned things over to Tom Brady, a minority owner, which on paper sounds really cool, last year, but he's absentee, which is his prerogative, so it's confusing. They ended up hiring Pete Carroll, generationally great coach, but an odd fit when you need to rebuild. Everything went terrible, and now they're trying what should be a cleaner rebuild, but with very few assets to try to build around it. And meanwhile, you have Max Crosby, who would be going on his 6th coach in his 8th season if he stayed with Clint Kubiak. He wants out, and they need assets. So on paper, it's a no-brainer. They need to trade Max Crosby, get what they can, and move forward.
We'll get to the Crosby part of this, Mike, in a second, but the main takeaway that I had from the article, I would encourage everybody to check it out. It is fantastic, from The Athletic, Mike Silver on the Las Vegas Raiders and the Max Crosby situation. So I hadn't thought about Alex Guerrero in quite some time, right? It was with Tom Brady's like wellness guru, who apparently holds the title of wellness coordinator. And I'm reading this, and that Guerrero, and I'd love for you to expand upon it in a second, right? That Guerrero's kind of like throwing his weight around, and he's involved in practices and meetings. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, if Tom Brady's the quarterback of the Raiders, you can get away with that because he's the greatest quarterback ever. Like, you deal with all the nonsense that comes with a player like Tom Brady because he's Tom Brady and because he's so good. But, like, he's not the quarterback. And like you said, he might be the minor. He's absentee. He wasn't even at the press conference for Clint Kubiak. And I think about this, Mike, and I extend it forward. And I'm wondering here, like, is a culture being created in Las Vegas with the Raiders that seems to be like a little untenable? And are they kind of being set up for failure moving forward here? If things like this are happening, there's probably more happening that we don't know about. Is that a fair or unfair conclusion that I have drawn as to the inner workings right now of the Las Vegas Raiders?
Well, in terms of being set up for failure, they've been failing. So they don't necessarily need a reboot for that.
Fair enough.
That's just kind of what they do. But, look, on paper, if you told me Tom Brady's going to run an organization, that excites me. He's one of the most ruthless competitors I've ever seen in sports. He has galvanized people to great heights. He obviously knows a ton about football, and, that's an exciting thing. He has reasons for not wanting to be there, including $37.5 million of them annually, reportedly from Fox. So I get it, but it's hard when he is ostensibly running it, and that was kind of vague. Last year, Mark Davis came out and said it after they fired Pete Carroll in a statement that he's running it. He's not around, and then you add Alex Guerrero, whose title is wellness coordinator, but in my article we get into him kind of going around the facility, threatening staffers, and certainly the perception is that anything he sees or hears goes directly back to Brady. That's not a healthy state of affairs. And, I think football people want to do their jobs and they get suspicious and, mistrustful when they're confronted with certain situations like that. I would think about Jack Easterby, a former team chaplain who rose to power ultimately with the Texans and, kind of throwing his authority around. There have been examples of ownership kind of stepping into realms of football people, Carly Ursay hovering behind the coaches on the sideline, wearing a headphone, listening in. I'm not saying, an owner can do what an owner does, but in terms of the way that coaches and other football people and players perceive these things, it can, create a bad atmosphere. All of this would be fine if they were making good decisions. They have not been. And, trading Max Crosby right now and getting a pretty decent haul probably is a no-brainer football decision, but it's the Raiders, so I'm skeptical that, they're going to be able to execute it.
I have one more on Alex Guerrero, and then we'll get to Max Crosby. And you write this in the article, and I kind of want you to slam this home. And if you have, if there's a off the record, if there's a story or that comes with this, Alex Guerrero is threatening staffers and is telling players about impending transactions. I know it's true because you wrote it. This is not me insinuating it's not true. It sounds like I'm sure it is true. It sounds unbelievable. That's actually happening, Mike?
Well, that's what numerous sources have told me is happening. And maybe he's just trying to give people a sense of how powerful he is, and maybe that's an overstatement because, again, we don't know. But, when, players have heard him kind of blurt out hey, here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut this guy. We're going to make this move, showing how much he knows. And then there are other staffers who, essentially have gotten the message you better do this or else. And, unstated is I'm going to tell Tom Brady who's running things. And again, he may be misrepresenting what his power actually is. Tom, is a very smart, measured guy. I don't necessarily think Tom Brady wants to wield unchecked power and just, fire people who don't do it a certain way, but he's not there to counter that or to set the tone. So that's all part of the stew. Power does weird things to people. Football organizations are bizarre organisms. It's really, really hard to win in the NFL and to kind of be unified and aligned. And then even when that does happen, there are a lot of things outside of your control, tip balls and injuries and missed calls that can ruin the plan. You have a lot of scrutiny, and then you have a lot of people in our business who talk to people and put stuff out there. So it's not an easy thing. It's not something I would say anyone can just snap their fingers and figure out how to do right away. But I do think when you jump in and you're in the building, it makes it a lot easier from what I can tell. You look at Tony Baselli, another Hall of Fame player who did not have that experience as an executive. He's now running football operations in Jacksonville. He's, with general manager James Gladstone and coach Liam Cohen and others in that building all the time, constantly asking questions, constantly trying to figure things out and letting everybody know kind of what the vision is. That to me seems like, the way that you would want to try to do this. It's hard for me to question Tom Brady, who has done so many incredible things in football that I've covered. And, I'm captivated by his leadership when I'm around him. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but the Raiders have a history of these, dysfunctional environments, and that seems to be continuing.
Couple more minutes here with Mike Silver from The Athletic, on Twitter at Mike Silver. His book, The Why is Everything, is my favorite football book that I've ever read, and I have read a lot. You check it out wherever you can find books. Actually, my mom bought it for me at Barnes & Noble, and I really loved it, so shout out to them. Mike, what is your best guess as to what happens with Max Crosby?
I think he'll be traded. I think the best time to trade him is these next few days as free agency and the start of the league year approach. I think the offers will be better. It sounds like there are more than half a dozen teams who are serious suitors that he would play for that are in. And the Raiders are asking for a deal like the Cowboys got for Micah Parsons. That seems ambitious to me. Parsons was 3 years younger at the time and healthy. Crosby coming off, meniscus surgery on his left knee, more wear and tear. But I think they can get a lot. They could wait and let it go to the draft when, those picks that they would want are getting ready to be on the clock. And then finally, they could keep waiting. But I think the longer they wait, the more difficult it's going to be in the building, given how Max Crosby feels about things. And, there's no prerogative to trade him. But if he wants to go, they don't have much else to offer asset-wise in terms of acquiring picks and young talent. I think the best thing for the Raiders would be to do this, sometime early next week at the latest.
Yeah, I think it will happen at some point in the next 7 days. It's pretty exciting. Mike, in the book, The Why is Everything, you can see how connected you are to a lot of different teams. One of those teams is the Los Angeles Rams and their head coach, Sean McVay. And the Rams swinging a huge trade yesterday, acquiring corner Trent McDuffie from the Kansas City Chiefs. When you saw that trade, the Rams making a deal for Trent McDuffie, what did it tell you about the Los Angeles Rams, their plans for this offseason heading into 2026?
They're back to doing it the way that got them a Super Bowl championship, and I understand why they had to kind of reboot a little bit and make some hard choices, but they drafted well. They got right back into contention, and why wait? Matthew Stafford's not going to play forever. The Rams were, you could, if you're the Rams, you could say you were a weird replay review in the regular season and a bad decision by a punt returner in the postseason away from possibly going to the Super Bowl and winning it. And, the 29th pick would be cool, but Trent McDuffie right now would be cooler. So they did it. It excites me. And, if Matthew Stafford stays healthy and keeps playing at this level, they're going to be right back in that mix, albeit in an intense division that now has Mike LaFleur, another subject of my book. And by the way, you are known for your impeccable taste. So everything you say about my book is appreciated and lauded by the literary community because
yes,
it's
sir.
coming from you. But look, it's exciting to me when teams go after it. It could blow up. They may have to reboot again, but I'm sure Sean McVay and Les Snead trust in themselves to do that if need be and get it right again.
Final question here, Mike. We have about 60 seconds for the answer. I really want at some point Kyle Shanahan to win a Super Bowl, and I think it could happen this year. But I think the Niners have to make some type of splash. Obviously, the team has to stay healthy also. I've been saying on this show, I think the Niners should be the team that swings the trade for Max Crosby. Do you think that could be in the cards, that specifically? Or the Niners, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, and company have something up their sleeve? 60 seconds for the answer.
Well, maybe they should take the swing on A.J. Brown. If you look at their glaring deficiency last year, it was receiver. And the Ayuk thing was a disaster. Deebo Samuel, they've moved on from. Ricky Pearsall, first-round pick, has, been really injury-plagued. And Juwan Jennings is a free agent. So they need to load up. George Kittle's coming off the Achilles. Their top, receiving threat last year. And then obviously Christian McCaffrey, is very much nearing the age when running backs tail off. Doesn't mean he will because he's a freak. But, yeah, man, I'm all for the 49ers being aggressive. They've made some great moves in the past. Nick Bosa is getting paid. They need another edge, obviously. But if it's not Max Crosby, they can go get someone there. But I say go get a receiver who can change the game and make Brock Purdy even more potent.
Mike, you're awesome. Love the book, The Why is Everything. The column up at The Athletic is great. Stay well. You're right. My literary taste is tremendous, and we'll catch up with you down the line.
All right, Nick, you're the man. Appreciate you.
Mike Silver joining us here on You Better You Bet. Flattery will get him everywhere. Love Mike Silver. We have so much to do in the final hour of the show. We still have to talk the New England Patriots, releasing Stephon Diggs coming up next week. Oh, yeah. Bets will close the show. My friend Mike Babchick from SiriusXM Mad Dog Sports Radio kicks off the final hour on the other side.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos and the crew, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Bring it up, Kenny. Final hour. Power hour. You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports. Nick Kostos, our awesome crew, Mike Babchick, and you. The final hour and every hour here on You Better You Bet, sponsored by BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. My friend Mike Babchick will join us in just a second. We are behind on sponsored reads, though. So I need to tell you that there's no better place to be during March matchups than Vegas. And this year, college basketball fans can win a VIP trip to the Court of Legends event featuring the Cavender twins. Simply play sports bets, and your position on the leaderboard will determine if you win one of the 25 grand prize packages. Just sign into your BetMGM account, opt into the promotion, then start placing sports bets of at least $10 to climb the leaderboard. Make this March one to remember. Join the Court of Legends leaderboard so you can make it legendary. I almost couldn't make it through that read without laughing, because joining us right now on the show, making it, you were with us a couple years ago on Radio Row at the Super Bowl, but I don't think you've ever been on the show before as an actual guest. So it's great to have you. My friend of over 20 years, Mike Babchick, who you can hear weekday mornings on Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio, along with our friend Damon Amendolara, DA and Babs, 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern, Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82. What's going on, my friend? You look horrible for the people that are watching the show on video. You look terrible.
You know, the more things change, they stay the same. Whatever the expression is, I haven't really evolved. I just got slightly more bloated over the years, but it's the same face, it's the same Babs, same Kostos, and it's pretty clear Billy Z, that's Bill Zimmerman, really couldn't book a great guest, because here I am stepping in as Bill Zimmerman, one of the great producers of all time. He used to work at Sirius. Whenever that guy went on vacation, he'd find a cabin in the woods that had no cell phone service. You wouldn't hear from that guy for 3 weeks. Now that's a good producer right there. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. This is great. He goes to yeah, it's great to have you. He goes to like a lake or something now, and like, yeah, he's right. MIA for a really, which can be frustrating. Before I don't even know what we're gonna do here. I think it's gonna be really fun though. Yeah, sure.
I'd love for you, because like we have literally known each other since 2003, when we were both interning at the same time at WFAN in New York. Oh. And I did enjoy making you like sit there for like 30 seconds while I did the read, because it made me think about some times that we have had back in studios over the years when I was a producer and you were my engineer, like literally like 15, 17 years ago. When you think about and keep this G-rated, please, because we could easily make it R-rated. When you think about our relationship over the years, what are some things that come to mind in the 20 plus years we've known each other?
Oh God, we have a lot of great tales. You calling me an engineer is probably maybe the most egregious thing I've ever heard in my entire life. All I did was press a couple buttons every now and then, and even that I didn't do properly. It was me and you as a studio. There was only one computer that was actually working, so I think I just watched you play some sort of soccer game back and forth. I would bet on
Tecmo Soccer. I would play Tecmo Soccer during a show that we were both working on.
We always love gambling. I mean, this is why it's perfect. I mean, I love the fact you've had such great success with You Better You Bet, but I always felt it. And you took some bets on the games against Tecmo Soccer, which I think you're playing against yourself. So I'm not sure how exactly I lost cash in that one, but that was a lot of fun. And of course, we learned so much. And then at the Fan, I mean, how about the Fan? We were interns together, and there was many a day where I felt like I could not make it into work, and you were the first call. You were the first call I'd make. I said, I'm too hungover. I cannot come in there on a Sunday morning and listen to Richard Neer. That would put me right back in a coma. So I couldn't do that. And so I would call Nick Kostos, and he was always there. So, Nick, you saved me so many times not only out of trouble, but also you got me through my fan internship. You're supposed to do 3 days a week. I did maybe a day and a half a week.
Well, you have the story. You have the story slightly wrong. So what happened was, I had the Sunday night shifts on WFA as one of like the 3 days of my internship.
Right.
Friday was Mike and the Mad Dog, which was pretty cool for me at the time, right? So you had the Sunday morning shift, I had the Sunday night shift, and after about 2 weeks, Eddie Scazzeri, who's like a New York radio legend, for people outside New York, don't know who he is, whatever, calls me and it's like, we need you to do the Sunday morning shift. So it's like 2 weeks in, they had to swap us out, and I had to do your shift. I had to do your shift, which was absolutely awesome.
That's right. That's fair.
So DA and Babs, weekdays 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But how's your life going, man?
Oh gosh, it's listen, professionally fantastic. Professionally, I'm at like a 9. Personally, I'm at like a 2. I just want to find love. No, I'm married. I have the 3 children.
You have 3? When did you have a 3rd? When did that happen?
I have a 3rd. Nobody knows about the 3rd. You know what? After you have 2, you're really going to put out a big announcement. The first one, I didn't put a big announcement because it was actually with the girl that I just broke up with. But I didn't realize that we copulated in San Francisco and created life. And so I came back together with her. Didn't realize that. Back in. And I've decided to just double down and now triple down on an entire new life where, when children come around, one life ends, another begins. And the one that ends is always better than the one that starts over. So it's different. So, yeah, I still live the family life. I still complain about my wife on the air. That part has never changed. I feel like, professionally, we're in great shape. Sirius XM is fantastic. Mad Dog Sports Radio is the best. We can talk about any topic. In fact, today on DA and Baz, we talked about Aaron Rodgers, going on with McAfee, saying that he's got to work out, look good, because he wants to stay hot for his wife. He wants to get her in the bedroom. Hey, Nick, you're now married now for a few years. You got a beautiful baby girl. When you get married, that's when you stop working out. That's when you stop. That's when everything goes I'm
vain, so like I keep working out, but I'll say this about you. Like I am insecure, which is why I work. Why do you think I have tattoos and a beard and I work out? Because I'm insecure. You have always been very secure with yourself and who you are, though. So like I see that for you. For me, I still work out because I'm vain.
Yes, look, a lot of people are like that. They work out for them. Nobody works out though for your wife. That's why you get married.
That's why you get married. Correct.
Go. You let yourself go. You're walking around in sweatpants. But you're right about me. I've always had this strange, fake, and false confidence. Not sure why. And all anybody's ever told me is that I'm hideous, I'm gross, I'm short, I'm ugly, I have terrible teeth. I have summer teeth. Some are here, some are there. And yet I continue to show up. Like even today, I'm on camera. Why? That's why I chose radio to not be on camera, but here I am. So that's something that's deep-seated. Not sure why.
Can we talk about... Well, maybe. I don't know if either of us are normal. Knowing our past together. Let's talk about parenthood for a second. And look, for all the moms and dads out there in the audience, you can appreciate this. So actually having a conversation with my old co-host, Ken Barkley. We were talking about this last night. Ken has 2 kids. They're younger than your kids, but older than my daughter, right? And what I was saying to him is, like, I wouldn't trade being a dad for anything, but I also, I kind of miss, like, playing video games. Like I like to read a book or like watch a movie or like watch a TV show. These are all things like on the highway of life, avenues of pleasure that are now closed. Now that your kids are, and I don't even know how old your third. I didn't even know you had a 3rd kid. Is this like take us through kind of the timeline here? Are you able now to enjoy hobbies, either scandalous ones or normal ones in your life?
Yeah, that I never stopped. I'm one of the the parents that set the tone early for how involved I'm going to be. I am always present. Here I am. I live in the home. I got a cell phone that can be reached. So I'm present, but I'm not really active. All right. I'm like the last guy on the bench, but I'm a part of the team and maybe I'll get the ring. But yeah, I have my son now who I obviously created out of wedlock. I feel like that's important to remind him that over and over again and blame him for why this family stinks. So I do that. He's 14, and then my youngest is 5. So I got all the ages.
Oh my God!
Oh yeah, it's the worst. I'm never getting out. I'll be 65 going to college. It's the worst. What happened? So anyway, Let's not think about the future. I like to live day by day. But yeah, I still do all these things. Like video games, that's cake. You just, eventually your daughter will join you playing video games, but put a device in front of her immediately. That will help out a lot of things because that'll do most of the parenting. And then just really never do anything and never learn anything. Like, you're changing the diapers? See, I never did that.
Oh, yeah. You never changed the diaper?
I did a couple times with the boys. I didn't do it with the girl. I was like, that ain't for me. So I never did it. And I only did it when they had accidents, emergency situations.
Yeah. Okay.
Never on the regular. And also, I let my wife, not work. So I felt like that was so I'll do the working, you'll do the mommying and the daddying as well. You'll just fill up both roles. If you start that tone early, you're in good shape. If you don't, and you're all in, and you might be all in, you're like the dad who's on the floor with the kid.
Yeah, I like it though, but I like it. I like it.
I like it too. I like it from afar. I like it. I always enjoyed watching them sleep. That was always fun. I like that. But if you're too active, it's gonna affect it. But never, just use the job. We have the greatest job, right? We're talking sports, we're gambling. That's a part of your life. You can't be bothered. You got to watch that game. You got to watch a West Coast hockey game. You need to. And you need to be away and out with the boys. And we need to get a drink very soon. Maybe we'll keep Bill at home. I don't know.
I remember on like a Friday night, we were working a show at maybe NFL Radio, and like the Knicks beat the Heat as an underdog. And I remember you and I were both like on the floor, like Dikembe Mutombo after the Nuggets beat the Sonics in 1994, like holding the basketball up, just like in ecstasy. It's like 15 years ago winning a bet. Mike Babchick, our guest, DA and Bab, Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio, mornings, 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern. How's your relationship with your wife, Beth, at this point?
It's still it's ongoing. In relationship status, it's still active. We're still in the status zone. No, we're actually better. We've come to realize that the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and the children stink, especially when they get really old. Just be prepared. The 14-year-old is the worst. I mean, he's just so difficult. He never speaks. He's no longer my friend. My daughter has realized right away that this is not a family she wants to be around very long. So she's got a long-term plan. At I think at the age of 6, she started writing in school. She's going to Hollywood at 18. She's going to leave. And I like that about her. She's very independent. She's the best. And so that's pretty cool. But me and my wife, we have to we realize the kids are the ones. So we don't really fight anymore. We just either we'll join forces against a child, or we'll use the child and, help us in an argument. So that's really it. The key to, keeping your relationship going is more children. The more chaos, the more noise, the less you really sit down and ever actually talk about your issues. We don't have time for that. So I like to do the thing where I go in my kid's room and I'll close the door and my wife will be like, you got to go in there. You got to discipline him. He's horrible. He's so rude. He's disrespectful. So I go into the room and I close the door and I go, Joe, you kidding me? All right, now I'm going to fake yell. And I do the fake yell. All right, what are you talking about? And then I pop back out. And then my wife goes, that was good. Thanks for having my back. And then we fool around. We still do that.
Do you feel like I feel like this a little bit, and this is, and like you know me well enough to know that I'm not blowing smoke, right? I think that you're very talented. Like we wanted to do a show together a long time ago at Sirius. Do you feel like you might have missed your calling and like you should be doing stand-up comedy? I feel like that might be true. Which is not to insinuate that you can't be great at this. But do you ever think that you should like you should have done that instead?
Yeah, you know what it is? And yes, me and you, we tried to have a show a long time ago. Tried was the key word. We were ahead of our time. Look at us now. I mean, we're fantastic.
Dude, we really were ahead of our. That's actually true.
Yes, it really was. It's something you say. I did a public access TV show in the Bronx. That was not ahead of its time. There's no time for that. But me and you, yes. But I did try stand up. The thing about stand up is you have to remember, and I don't have much of a memory. I got a very foggy brain. You got to really remember where you're going when you start, and that's the tough part. And I did play stand up at Gotham Comedy Club. That's not too shabby. And my big thing was I jumped off the set and ate somebody's rap in the front row. It was an interactive show. It was an interactive show. they paid me in a 6-pack of Coronas, but no, I think that this radio thing is perfect, and there's more to come. I'm also doing the indoor football league this season.
Yeah, I was going to cue that up. So let me promote that for you here, because like I texted you recently, and again, like Mike does a great job. DA's been on the show, DA and Babs, weekdays 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern, Mad Dog Sports Radio, and you've been like a stalwart on Mad Dog Sports Radio for over a decade now, since I was still there, right? You were hosting the morning show at the time with Evan Cohen, and so I'm on Twitter. I don't know when this was, like a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. And the Indoor Football League, which is going to be streamed right on the Yahoo Sports Fast channel, and a lot of resources are put behind it. So Yahoo Sports puts out, or maybe it's the Indoor Football League, puts out this roster of all the broadcasters that will be a part of this network. And like, I mean this sincerely, you, meaning you in the audience, will look at this and you will know a lot of the people that are on this. Like, I've been doing this for a long time, so like I know who basically everybody is. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, this is legit. And in the tweet, it's like, here are all the people that are working for us and Mike Babchick. Now, like, some may look at that and be like, oh, like they're making fun of Babchick. It's like, no, like they're actually saying like he's the best out of everybody. That's what that means. It's like, here's everybody grouped. No one's getting mentioned specifically except for Mike Babchick. And I texted you like, who's running this? Your wife? Like, how did this happen? It feels like it feels to me like you're the star of this operation. Promote it for our audience.
Yeah, the Indoor Football League is by far the premier indoor league. We know that. They got great owners. They got a great league that's a lot of fun and innovative, and they're going to do some big things. And, yeah, when they put out the big press release, I think it was something like broadcasters, journalists, who crafted their profession over the years, and here's Babchick and whatever it is he does. And so, yes, I took that as a compliment as well.
It's a huge compliment. They didn't reference anyone else except for you. It's a great compliment, of course.
Unbelievable. There's some great legends. Like, we're talking about, the passing of Lou Holtz. Well, how about Mark May? Like, remember Lou Holtz and Mark May were together? Mark May is on there. He's one of the. It's amazing. It's a great list of names. And, no, it's fantastic. Look, I covered a game last year in Vegas. They screwed up the date, so let's go to the championship game. Instead, I went to the conference finals. But look, it was Vegas anyway. Then I found out live in the air I was actually only going to Henderson, Nevada, so it's really off the strip. But the president of Indoor Football League, the king of all indoor football, Jared Widman, who's the man. He's the one who loves to not only see me succeed but really fail. He knows I'm a fail-up guy. And he knows that the situations I'm going to be in all season long for indoor football will be highly entertaining and perhaps a tad embarrassing for me. And he knows that's something you put at the top. You put that at the best. But he also is aware that I'm not allowed to talk to players, coaches, and do anything live during the game. So I'm going to be like the halftime, post, pregame, Frank Caliendo special. Just maybe a tad shorter, uglier, and weirder.
And
be good,
less rich.
Well, look, you didn't have to say that part. Okay?
I feel like I wanted to.
Yeah, we all know the mistakes I made in the market. We're not going to get into that. So that's and also the gambling wise, I've always been a terrible gambler, Nick. And you're pretty good at this stuff. You speak it so well. I love the way you break it down. I'm not saying you're always right, but you do have a sort of a better feel. I am Mikey Mush. Everything I bet on loses, and I mean loses.
What do you like tonight?
Tonight I was going to take off because I lost a lot of cash over, the Olympics, USA Hockey, and then I had a couple of bad bets.
So you bet Canada?
With the NBA. Is Canada playing?
No, but you're saying you lost money on the Olympics. Did you bet Canada?
Yeah, but the problem was I bet a lot of cash. I was riding the -1.5 on USA and Canada until they didn't hit the 1.5. Yeah. And that sort of steamrolled backwards, and then I sort of fell apart over the last couple of days. But I was taking all that money. I was doing bigger bets because I felt like I had a little more cash, and then it fell apart. And so that sucked. But tonight, I don't know what's going on tonight.
I was going to say, as soon as you started answering the question, I was like, he has no idea who's playing tonight.
I have no idea. Nick's Thunder was last night. I'm a last night guy. I recap what happened last night. I'm not a preview guy, man. I'm a morning guy. Come on.
I actually, like, next time we have you on the show, I wanted to talk to you about how difficult, like, stand-up is, because it's, like, the one thing in our medium. Like, think about this, right? I've had this conversation off air with Danny Parkins before, where if you host like what Jimmy Fallon does, right, the Tonight Show or whatever, or you do what we do for a living, you never have to speak extemporaneously for like 60 minutes straight. That's like the only profession where you get up there with no notes and it's just you, and you got to talk the entire time. And like, I kind of am intimidated by that as well, as someone who has maybe killed some brain cells in the past. Do you lose your train of thought? Let's close with this. Do you have like a hot sports take for us? Anything sportsy you'd like to get off your chest?
Let me try to think of some of the because I do this for a living. So you would think that's an easy question. And we're in I've already done 4 shows this week. So there have to be something that is very interesting. I'll give it to you. Here's my big take. This McDonald's CEO, I think, is brilliant. And I think he did it on purpose. I mean, the way
what did he do?
So stiff.
I don't know the story. What happened?
All right, he takes a bite of this new burger, this Arch Burger, right? And he does it in a way where he calls it the product, and he takes a tiny bite, and everybody rips the guy like, you don't eat these McDonald's burgers. You're a fish guy. You're a salmon guy. And he was so bad at it and breaking it down, it's like, I don't even know how to attack this thing. And so what happens? All these other fast food CEOs, they jump in, they try to mock him, they talk about him. You know what's going on? All we're talking about is this new burger. And it's everywhere except across your desk. It's a brand new burger from McDonald's. And this guy, I think, had the foresight to go, I could do a video so bad that it'll be so good. And that is my career. The worse you are, the better.
If you could save one life of these two, Evan Cohen or Damon Amendolara, who would it be and why?
How am I saving their life? You got to paint the picture.
They're both hanging off a cliff. They're off the cliff, and you can grab one and pull them up. The other falls to his death.
I feel like at that point, that's too much of a I'm not a choice guy. I'm not really a decision guy. I don't like to make decisions. I'm just really a reactor. And so at that point, I'll be like, you know what? I've lived enough, and I think I'll jump off the cliff.
I love it. Evan Cohen now on ESPN Radio worked with me and Mike at Sirius, and now DA, Mike's co-host as well. Dude.
The best.
You're the best, buddy. At Babchick on Twitter, DA and Babs, mornings on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Appreciate you, buddy. We'll catch up soon.
And next time I come on, I will tell the full story of us hanging out at Jets tailgate and using someone else's grill and maybe their burgers as well from a cooler and then placing it back in their car in the second quarter. And that car could have burned to the ground. And I don't know, we were just running back inside into a stadium. I'll save that story for next time. But Nick, you're the best. Great job. Love this show. Congrats to everybody involved except for Bill Zimmerman. Great job. And I'll talk to you soon.
Mike Babchick, I just so everyone, just because I know him, he doesn't mean a word of that, except for the part about Bill Zimmerman. Mike Babchick with us here on You Better You Bet. On the other side, we'll get a little bit more into the Knicks Thunder game from last night, because I really want to put into perspective for everybody. I don't think all of you understand what's about to happen with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder. That, plus Aaron Rodgers' comments yesterday on Pat McAfee. Are we sure he's coming back? 310-840-4910, youtube.com/@thekostos. The show rolls on right after this.
good. SGA knocks down the clutch three, and that makes it a 7-point game.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
The world's top baseball stars go head-to-head in the World Baseball Classic. Join the excitement and make your WCC? Make your WBC moment when you bet with boosted odds. Activate your odds boost token for any WBC. Why can't I say this? WBC. WBC. All right, ready? We're going to do this live on the air. 3, 2, 1. The world's top baseball stars go head-to-head in the WBC. Join the excitement and make your WBC moments when you bet with boosted odds. Activate your odds boost token for any WBC bet. It's too much WBC. And you'll receive a bigger payout if your bet wins. Make it legendary. Download the BetMGM app today, and please gamble responsibly. Mike Breen on the call, coming back from break from last night's Oklahoma City Thunder win at Madison Square Garden over my Knicks. And SGA making the three at the end to make it a 7-point game and not salting the game away, but that's ultimately the margin of victory. Thunder win the game by 3. And started the show talking about, I feel like Knicks fans are pathetic right now, and the whining and the bitching and the moaning and the complaining about the officiating. Bottom line, Thunder are better than the Knicks. And that's it. And you know my opinion on the Oklahoma City Thunder and how this is going to go the rest of the season into the playoffs. I believe, and I am financially invested, in them going, as Drake would say, back to back. And I believe, as the betting market does, it doesn't have to, he could get hurt. Jokic can supremely outperform him. But the betting market at the moment would have you believe, and I think it's absolutely true, that SGA is very likely, minus 325 right now, SGA is. So a big favorite to an NBA Most Valuable Player. So I want to extend this out for everybody because I believe, as I've said, that we are 3+ months away from the Oklahoma City Thunder becoming, if not the most hated and reviled team in sports, on the short list. So let's assume that happens. And let's assume that along the way, SGA wins another NBA MVP, which would be his second straight. And the betting market says that those are the most likely things to happen. SGA wins MVP, Thunder win another NBA championship. Here are the players in NBA history to win back-to-back MVPs. All of them, just say one name, and you know who they are. Russell, Wilt, Kareem, Moses, Larry, Magic, Michael, Duncan, Nash, LeBron, Curry, Giannis, Jokic. We are not that far away from SGA joining that list of names. Let's play this out a step further. Let's say the Thunder win the NBA championship. Is it possible that a player other than SGA could win Finals MVP? It is possible, but it feels unlikely, right? Like Iguodala did win in 2015 for the Warriors, won Finals MVP. Jaylen Brown, and like that's, Brown's been so good this season, but I think a lot of people assumed that Tatum would just win, right? So we have seen it happen where someone could kind of come out of nowhere, not out of, like Jalen Williams, J-Dub winning, but not be out of nowhere. But SGA would be a huge favorite. On OKC would be the top choice in the betting market to be Finals MVP. Here is a list of players to win back-to-back NBA Finals MVPs. Michael, Hakeem, Shaq, Kobe, LeBron, KD. I don't think everyone realizes the history that we are like on the precipice of seeing being made with this Oklahoma City Thunder team. They're the best team. They are I think they are likely to win the championship, and SGA is a big favorite to win Most Valuable Player. And again, the question I asked at the beginning of the show, to you, our audience, you, a big sports fan, do you like them? Is your opinion of the Oklahoma City Thunder favorable or unfavorable? My guess is you don't like them. My guess is your opinion's unfavorable. My guess is you think SGA flops and he's a free throw merchant and the Thunder get all the calls and you don't think they're that good. Do I believe everyone thinks that? No. But do I think the majority of sports fans currently think that? I do. And if you're one of the fans that thinks that now, imagine what this is going to be in 3+ months. You Better You Bet on this Thursday. Nick Kostos here with you on Westwood One Sports. I want to circle back to the Los Angeles Rams for a moment and the trade yesterday for Trent McDuffie. In the first hour of the show, I asked you, if you had to choose Broncos, Chargers as a pairing, or the Chiefs at this point in the calendar, who would you take in the 2026 NFL season? For me, the answer to that question is the Broncos and the Chargers, and specifically for me, the LA Chargers. While I do acknowledge the Broncos actually have proof of concept and the Chargers don't, I would want to bet on the upside of Herbert and Herbert figuring it out in the postseason, and Jim Harbaugh and Mike McDaniel now running the offense. Again, the upgrade from Greg Roman to Mike McDaniel, I said earlier in the show, like a Pinto to a Ferrari. This is like going from dial-up to high-speed internet. Like, you can't possibly compare it or overstate how big of a deal it is for the LA Chargers. So let me ask a similar question about the NFC West. The Rams just trade for Trent McDuffie, right? The Seahawks are Super Bowl champions. Mike Silver was on the show with us last hour, and I asked him about the Niners and Max Crosby, and he said, well, maybe, but the guy that he wants the Niners to go out and trade for is A.J. Brown. And Mike Silver didn't say this, and I don't know if this is true, but I'm going to assume it is. Because if you read his book, The Why is Everything, and you followed him for a long time, he's a Bay Area native, he's plugged into this stuff. If he's saying A.J. Brown as the Niners, he thinks the Niners should get A.J. Brown, my guess is and I'm not trying to speak for him. I can be wrong. My sense is that the Niners have had those conversations and he's probably aware of it. Who would you take right now to win the NFC West? The Niners, and if you're going to take San Francisco, you need to assume health, obviously, right? The Niners, the Rams, with Stafford coming off an MVP year, and now here's Trent McDuffie in the secondary, or the reigning, defending Super Bowl champion, Seattle Seahawks. Who do you like? On the Monday after Super Bowl 60, or maybe it was the Tuesday, all these days bleed together. I think it was Tuesday, the Tuesday after the Super Bowl. We did here are the way too early thoughts for next year's Super Bowl championship. And on that show, I talked about the San Francisco 49ers being my Super Bowl pick for next year. I'm not going to back off that. But I have to be honest. If I had to pick out of those three NFC West teams right now, I think you have to take the Rams. Because they've made the move. They've made their move. Seattle's going to lose some players coming up in free agency. Every Super Bowl champion does. Not an insult to Seattle. They have a lot of really good players. Everyone just watched them win. They're probably going to get big money, some of them to sign elsewhere. But the Seahawks can definitely still win the division, can definitely get back to the Super Bowl. Can definitely happen. The Niners haven't made the big move yet. I believe it's coming. So right now, I think you probably have to take the Rams. But I'm holding out hope that the Niners are going to make that move. And my sense is it's going to happen at some point in the next week. If it's for Max Crosby, it'll certainly be then. If it's for A.J. Brown, it's going to take a little more time. I'd rather see them trade for Crosby than A.J. Brown and pair Crosby with Nick Bosa for Raheem Morris as the new defensive coordinator and get after that ass of the opposing quarterback. Isn't that interesting, right? AFC West, those three teams. NFC West, those three teams. Who do you like right now? For me, the two LA teams. The Chiefs can obviously get into the conversation, as can the Niners, as can the Seattle Seahawks. Last football note for now. Aaron Rodgers did a 90-minute interview yesterday on the Pat McAfee show on ESPN and on the ESPN YouTube page, and gave a number of what I thought were really interesting quotes and talked about his relationship with his wife, who some people think is fake. She's not fake. I think some people have done research on this. She's a real person. He referenced that I think she's British. She went back across the pond. They met in 2017. And I thought hearing him talk about wanting to avoid the paparazzi and stuff and what him and his wife are looking for. I thought it was pretty interesting. Now, I will say this about Aaron Rodgers, and this is what bugs people about Aaron Rodgers, is even if he's exceptionally charismatic, which he is, he does contradict himself. Because when Aaron Rodgers says, I want to live a private life, my wife wants to live a private life, we're not into the media, we don't want to be seen, I've done that before. You know who actually doesn't want to live a public life? Kawhi Leonard. Does anyone know anything about Kawhi Leonard? Just as an example. Because it is a little hypocrite, and I love Aaron Rodgers. It's a little hypocritical for Aaron Rodgers to say, I want to live a private life. Also, I'm saying that on this huge national show. I'm just saying. I like Aaron Rodgers, but that is true. And while the stuff Rodgers was saying about his wife and kind of the schism with his family, it's all really interesting. From a sports talk and football perspective, what he had to say about his conversations with Steelers general manager Omar Khan, Kenny, that was the most interesting note. Play it for us, please.
I've talked to Mike. I've talked to Omar. There's been no deadline that's been put in front of me. There's no contract, offer or anything. So there's nothing that I'm, having to debate between. I'm enjoying my time with my wife and enjoying this part of the off season, and I think there's conversations to be had down the line, but right now I'm not there hasn't been any progressive conversation.
So Rodgers is kind of doing the same thing he always does. And it's funny because, Bill, our Zimmerman, our executive producer, is doing his job, right? He texts our group yesterday, Rodgers is going to be on McAfee later, right? And in my head, I'm thinking when I see the text, he's right to send the text. But in my head, I'm thinking there is a 0% chance Aaron Rodgers is about to announce what he's doing. 0. And of course he doesn't. Because even as much as he tells you he doesn't like the drama and doesn't want to be involved, he obviously really likes it, right? He obviously really likes it. Now, as I'm watching him talk, and I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched a lot of the long-form extended clips, I'm kind of thinking, man, I don't know if he's definitely coming back. And I've never thought that before in any of the years, and it feels like there's been 50 of them now. Will he or won't he play? I've never felt like he was going to retire. Some of the things that he was saying and the way he was saying them yesterday, especially talking about his personal life now, kind of made me think, maybe he is actually going to step away. And this is it for Aaron Rodgers. And if you're out there watching or listening to the show, and you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, here's my recommendation. If you are a religious man or woman, add to your prayers health, happiness, wealth, and Aaron Rodgers retiring. And if you're not a religious man or woman, perhaps you should attend church on Sunday. because this would be the best case scenario for the 2026 Pittsburgh Steelers and beyond if Aaron Rodgers were to hang them up. We have some major breaking news in the National Football League. Per ESPN's Adam Schefter, this just breaking moments ago, literally moments ago. The Buffalo Bills are close to finalizing a deal to acquire Chicago Bears wide receiver DJ Moore. The Buffalo Bills close to acquiring Chicago Bears wide receiver DJ Moore. We'll take one more break, and on the other side, I'll give you my thoughts on that potential move. Again, the Bills close to acquiring DJ Moore. We'll see if we get the compensation. So we'll wrap the show with that and all our bets for tonight on this Thursday on Westwood One Sports.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
No better place to be during March matchups than Vegas. This year, college basketball fans can win a VIP trip to the Court of Legends event featuring the Cavender twins. Simply place sports bets, and your position on the leaderboard will determine if you win one of the 25 grand prize packages. Just sign into your BetMGM account, opt into the promotion, then start placing sports bets of at least $10 to climb the leaderboard. Make this March one to remember. Join the Court of Legends leaderboard so you can make it legendary. 3 great guests on the show today: Mike Babchick, Mike Silver, and Pat Boyle. Thanks to them, Bill, Kenny, Mike, and Dan, our outstanding crew here on You Better You Bet. I am off tomorrow. Chris Mack has you covered on a phenomenal Sports Friday. We'll get to the bets to close the show, but the major breaking news in the world of sports, gave it to you at the end of last segment. The Buffalo Bills are acquiring Chicago Bears wide receiver DJ Moore for a mid-round draft pick. We don't know what the compensation is yet. Mid-round would imply 3 through 5. We don't know what it's probably closer to 5 than to 3. So for the Chicago Bears, this is easy. You have Luther Burden and Colston Loveland. They're both absolute studs. This makes it easier to trade DJ Moore, who has been something of a locker room malcontent. Plus, you have Rome Odunze. Luther Burden is the best receiver on the team already. He's better than Odunze, and Colston Loveland's better than Odunze also. So the Bears can absorb this. I don't dislike it for Chicago at all. I actually think addition by subtraction for the Bears. For the Buffalo Bills, does DJ Moore help? Absolutely. He's way better than any other receiver they have, not named Khalil Shakir, and his upside is better than Khalil Shakir's upside, obviously. Ian Rappaport adding that the Bills, this trade knocks them out of the A.J. Brown sweepstakes. So the Bills can't trade for A.J. Brown now, per Ian Rappaport. So if you're Buffalo, the plan cannot be, if you're Joe Brady and listen to me now, because I only have like a minute here to give you this take, and then I'm off till Monday. It can't be that Keon Coleman is one of your starters this year. I don't care what Joe Brady says. Keon Coleman shows up late to meetings. He's not dependable. DJ Moore is a fine move to make, but it cannot be the only move the Bills make at receiver. And if it's not going to be A.J. Brown and they can't sign Alec Pierce, then you better draft someone in the first round, or you better use that ammunition, and you better trade for Max Crosby. The Bills absolutely have to do something else. They have to get another receiver, and I think they have to make another big move as well. The Super Bowl window, we don't know how long it's going to be open for. This is a win-now team this year. That's why you fired Sean McDermott. You need to get at least one more receiver in addition to DJ Moore, and I think if you're Buffalo, and it's true that you're out of the A.J. Brown sweepstakes, you load up and you try and get Max Crosby in Western New York. The goal is to win. And if the goal's to win, you can't sit on your hands. And the Bills would be wise in this instance to take a page out of the LA Rams book and say, F them picks, and go and try and win a Super Bowl championship, the first one in the history of the Buffalo Bills. And with that, let's get to the bets for tonight. Kenny, please drop the dope-ass beat. 3 bets coming up for yours truly tonight in basketball. Not hearing from people now that the bets have been pretty good. How about Arkansas last night? Did you enjoy that? Houston, not so much. Tied at halftime, win by 13, minus 15.5. 3 bets for today. 1 in college, 2 in the NBA. The college basketball bet today is the easiest bet on the board. Iowa lost to Penn State over the weekend. Michigan's beating everyone. Michigan's 9.5. I took the 9.5 with Iowa. And it's 8.5 now. I still like that. Iowa plus the points at home against Michigan. 2 bets in the NBA. We saw a couple nights ago the Knicks pull away from the Raptors at the end of the game. The Toronto Raptors have had a nice season, but they are good against bad teams and bad against good teams. The Minnesota Timberwolves, a good team. Let's lay the 5.5 with the Wolves against the Raptors. And Pistons Spurs tonight. Spurs a 3.5-point home favorite. That totals 228.5. I think this is going to be an ultra-physical playoff-esque game. Give me the under with the Pistons and the Spurs. Iowa plus the points. Wolves laying it against the Raptors. Pistons, Spurs, under. I'll see you all on a magnificent Sports Monday. Until then, I'm Nick Kostos wishing you minimal sweats, winning bets, the absolute very best of luck. Chris Mack on You Better You Bet tomorrow. Black and Abdallah coming up next on Westwood One Sports.